Whenever I listen back to something that I do, it just makes me feel weird.
Hi, my lovely.
Hi.
Welcome to America's Got Talent.
She performed on a well-lit stage at 13 years old, her voice raw and aggressive, and the crowd was quiet as Courtney Hadwin sang her heart out. Nobody anticipated a little girl from County Durham would rock a sold-out theater in America in seconds. Today, we are going to follow her incredible journey, that moment that transformed her life and the tragedy that pursued her dream. Stay with me while we tell every turn and bend in Courtney Hadwin's story, from a promising audition to a tragic accident, and find out how her spirit kept her going during the darkest moment of her life. They witnessed a bold girl on stage, but what was the agony she concealed behind that powerful voice? Before fame turned everything upside down, who was Courtney Hadwin really behind closed doors? Little girl with big aspirations, Courtney Hadwin was born on May 6, 2004, in Heselden, County Durham, England, to Paul Hadwin and Anne-Marie Hadwin. Her parents are very industrious, and even when they had hectic days, they never failed to find time to assist in the development of her musical talent. Young Courtney initially listened to soul music when she was very young, and her mother used to play music from various settled artists. This assisted her in singing since she had demonstrated an interest in music at a very early age. She learned the ability to tap her foot to powerful rhythms and to hum to various melodies. At the age of 3, she would dance around with hands raised in the air whenever music was played at home by her parents, and her affection for music made her parents so joyful. Her parents adored seeing her perform little routines at home. She got introduced to singing lessons at the age of 8 by her school, and her music teacher observed her heavenly voice and distinctive richness of voice. Her teacher encouraged her to join the school choir, and rehearsing every week in the school hall made her more confident with every new song she performed. Singing on stage at assembly with other classmates gave her a boost of pride, and she was nicknamed Rocker Girl by her peers after they watched her sing and dance at the same time. She was very confident, and she never hesitated to sing in front of an audience. She loved singing, and Courtney Hadwin was very dedicated to her craft. She never skipped her music classes and learned to listen to breathing so that her voice would go up to the highest note. She would practice vocal scales in her bedroom mirror early before school started, and even composed lyrics at such a tender age. When she was 10 years old, she organized a group of kids from around her neighborhood to sing and play around the hood, and they named themselves Durham Soul. Their parents helped them in so many aspects, and they even went as far as helping to buy guitars and drums for them. Small audiences would gather to see them and sing together, and her neighborhood started to realize that she had something special. A journalist from a local newspaper had written a brief feature on a young singer with an angelic voice, and the front-page headline was, "A Young Girl Brings Soul to County Durham." Her parents beamed with pride when they read that article, and it gave Courtney a justification to feel that her voice was important. She also attended training at Shotton Hall Theater School, and Anne-Marie took her for practice every weekend. The singing teacher she discovered there taught her phrasing and control, and Courtney learned to mold her voice to fit the mood of each tune. The expression of feeling through sound was her aim. Her first proper stage was a local festival in Durham City, with thousands of spectators in attendance. Being under those lights made her nervous at first, but soon she got herself together and became confident. As soon as she sang the last song, the crowd clapped for her, and even people who didn't even know her name cheered because they were touched by her incredible voice. Her classmates and even neighborhood friends frequently invited her to sing during birthday celebrations and gatherings in their community, and performing for a small crowd of known people taught her how to express her emotions through song. Every time she chose a song, she picked those that have lyrics she experienced herself, and that made every song lovely and pleasing to the ears of listeners. By the time she was 12, her aspirations had transcended her hometown. She saved the money her parents gave her because she wished to contribute and assist them in financing her airplane ticket. Her aspiration of sharing her talent on a wider platform became her dream, and she pinned down at night the accomplishments she would wish for. This kid was born with talent, and this distinguished her. I can sense it. Can you? Family and friend support made each step seem lighter, and her mom always instructed her to work hard, remain humble, and have an aim in life. Those words remained with her as she set off to travel far away from home, and dreaming of a greater world outside of Heselden was the beginning of her book. She was just a girl with a suitcase and a dream, yet would America notice her talent or abandon her in the masses? What transpired when she finally got on stage? The one that shocked America arrived in the summer of 2018, when Courtney Hadwin, 13 years old, arrived by plane in Omaha, Nebraska, suitcase small, leather jacket over her shoulder, and big determination. She had never visited the United States, and family friends had warned her about jet lag and told her to sleep well once she landed. But in her mind, there was one objective, and that was getting a spot on America's Got Talent. On the day of her audition, Courtney woke up at the CenturyLink Center excited and nervous simultaneously. Within the holding area, aspiring singers and dancers rehearsed in small cliques, and backstage personnel summoned names at random, having contestants wait patiently for their turn. Courtney Hadwin stood with her fedora in one hand and her audition form clutched in the other. She breathed in deeply and walked behind the producers down a narrow corridor onto the stage. The judge's desk was positioned under harsh lights, and Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Mel B observed every performance with silence until the last moment. The audience was silent when Courtney crossed to the middle of the stage. She had on a small black leather jacket, a white top, and black jeans, and her hair cascaded in loose waves down her shoulders. There was a hush as the band launched into the opening chords of Piece of My Heart. At first, her voice was a whisper, and she closed her eyes and let the beat pound in her chest. In an instant, her real power exploded, and her tone cracked with hunger and power. She stamped her foot to the beat of the music, dancing like a twice-her-age singer, and each note was gritted and felt. Simon sat forward, brow furrowed. Heidi sat straight, eyes wide open. Howie put his hand over his mouth, trying not to conceal the shock. Melby drummed her fingers against the table, anticipating more. As the last chord sounded, the theater erupted in applause. Judges rose and applauded her incredible performance. One special moment was when Simon struck his buzzer, casting a red light that glimmered onto the stage. Courtney's eyes flew open. She spotted Simon, smiling, and reached for her fedora. She looked over at the judges and then at her mother, who was crying tears of happiness backstage. A producer offered her a microphone for an interview. Her voice trembling, she answered, "I love to sing. It makes me feel free." Her response was so simple, yet it reached heartstrings. Her performance video went viral on social media that evening. At dawn, it had been viewed more than 10 million times on YouTube. Media from the New York Times to the BBC published stories labeling her the voice of a teen Janis Joplin. Their headlines were all about the strength and raw power of her performance. Papers in her hometown of Heselden featured her on the front page, writing about how she had invaded America. Producers asked Courtney to return the next day for a more intimate audition. In a glass room, cameras rolled as she reunited with contestants and judges alike. She sang an original song her vocal coach Laura wrote, entitled Heart and Soul. Her voice carried emotion through every part of the room, even without the full stage lights. Simon complimented her creativity for choosing a song that expressed her emotions. He told her, "You are not imitating anyone. You're yourself." That moment was pivotal. Judges made sure she would go straight on to the live performances. She exited the audition room with a gang of other performers, all embracing her and congratulating her. In interviews, Courtney complained of missing her family and friends, but also acknowledged a sense of belonging on the America's Got Talent stage. She had so many messages that night. She acquired new fans globally who complimented her on various social media outlets. Messages streamed in from as distant a place as Japan and Brazil, expressing appreciation for sharing her music. One commenter had written, "Your voice makes me feel alive." Another person wrote, "You remind me of my daughter." Courtney Hadwin was so happy that she could not keep tears from her eyes. She had seen her singing resonate with people she would never know. In the weeks that followed, videos of her audition kept getting millions of views. Talk shows invited her to make appearances. The Today Show offered to have her sing live on TV. She balanced school with a constant endeavor by taking online classes. She also had the help of her parents, who managed to balance for her. In all interviews, she kept her mind fixed on singing more than on fame. Her path, from her hometown choir in England to a standing ovation audition in the United States, demonstrated both her talent and her bravery. She was committed to her craft, and it was the best she could do. That audition became the day the world got to know Courtney Hadwin. Nothing was ever the same again. America's Got Talent had a new star, and Courtney Hadwin had her moment in the spotlight. Overnight sensation by the time live performances began, Courtney Hadwin was more than a contestant. She was a headline. Within hours of airing her audition online, people around the world fell in love with her. People posted her video on social media sites, tagging friends and members of the family. News websites featured stories with headlines, such as Teen Rock Star from England Steals the Show. Her video had reached 10 million views on YouTube within less than a day. All of a sudden, this County Durham teenager was caught up in a maelstrom she had dreamed of but never imagined. She came to Los Angeles under a special chaperone provision. Schoolwork was more demanding. Her tutor assisted her with schoolwork since she was always on the move, and she required help so as to keep up with her grades. She also managed to find time to work on her next performance. Every day, she rose early to rehearse prior to breakfast. She loosened up her voice on various scales, extending her chest and shoulders to sustain each note. Her coach monitored intently and provided input regarding timing and breathing. Daily incremental improvements gave her confidence and made her more flawless in her art. Rehearsals were held in the America's Got Talent soundstage afternoons. Bright lights suspended over her head, and cameras traveled on rails to get all the angles. Courtney became accustomed to working with spotlights and fog machines, so nothing could take attention away from her voice. She rehearsed walking with a mic stand and learned how to stop for dramatic pause at the end of each sentence. Producers and directors were shocked at her concentration. One crew member described how she dealt with every new situation and maturity beyond her age. When live show week rolled around, Courtney decided to perform Maybe by Janis Joplin. She stood on stage surrounded by glittering arches and deep red lighting. The audience was silent while she waited to start. Then she opened her mouth and unleashed a firm, forceful voice that was full of emotion. The audience stood up halfway through the song, applauding so fervently that it filled the arena. Judges grinned and nodded in approval. Having concluded while still standing on the stage, confetti cannons exploded, showering her with glittering streamers. Cheers lasted for minutes. Her name appeared on charts, music blogs, and fan sites. In a span of 24 hours, her performances were among the most watched videos in the history of the talent show. Talk shows phoned her team. They arranged her initial spot on The Ellen DeGeneres Show. As she stepped on that stage, Ellen hugged her warmly. They both burst out laughing as Ellen attempted to sing a line with her raspy voice. Courtney told us she missed her dog at home and that she got emotional from hearing applause. Next, it was The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy pulled a surprise on her with a live drumbeat behind her while she sang a classic blues tune. The crowd clapped along to the beat. Jimmy and his bandleader, Questlove, complimented her voice control and love for music after she sang. They teased about starting a band in collaboration. Courtney smiled and told her she would think about it after she completed schoolwork. Each appearance contributed to her growing popularity. Record labels offered studio time. Merchandise companies inquired about hoodies and T-shirts. But Courtney remained grounded. She recalled her mother's advice, to sing to give joy, not for popularity. Following each interview, she phoned home to remain connected with her family. She saw messages from fans who were inspired through her music. She could write short passages like, "Today, I sang for millions. Tomorrow, I will sing with my heart because I loved it." From one audition clip to global fame, Courtney Hadwin's story became the tale of an overnight sensation. Despite that, beneath the overnight success was hours of rehearsal, a great deal of concentration, and the same dream she had as a little kid.